Hello everybody, Necromancy for Kids here from the Go Format Europe server, here to give you the results and some free plays from the No Trinity tournament that we had recently as a Slifer Special. The Slifer Specials are tournaments with special rules, and this one in particular had the quite simple rule change from Go Format that you weren't allowed to play Pot of Greed, Graceful Charity, or Delinquent Duo, three power cards that go into almost every single deck, except sometimes Duo doesn't go in. But that also sometimes people will complain about in the format, or they complain that they didn't draw their Trinity pieces, but their opponent did. And it's just a fun experiment to see what kind of decks people play without Trinity and what kind of decks are more powerful. And we had some interesting results last time that we had this, because this was a second time that we are doing a No Trinity tournament. The last one was the previous year, or rather at the start of this year. And the winner of that one was a Reasoning Gate deck, which everyone was saying would be a lot worse without the Trinity pieces. But turns out that it was still powerful enough. This one, we had some results that were more in line with what people were thinking. I'm going to give you the top four, and after that, there's going to be replays of the top four matches. So you can either skip to that if you want to, or you can watch that after I give these. But before all of that, I want to show a deck highlight of one of the decks that was in the tournament. That I like to do every single one of these Slifer specials, give a nod to people who do unique deck building, or that I think is one of the cooler decks in the tournament. Unfortunately, there's one deck that I wanted to do, but the user is no longer part of the Discord, so it's better for me to pick someone else. So I will show TKGriffiths deck on screen here, and it is a very interesting control deck. It's got one of everything pretty much for monsters. I guess trying to figure out which cards are still good and which cards aren't so good. It seems like it's actually pretty common nowadays for goat control decks to be playing one-ofs of a lot of stuff. But you can see here there's a little bit of aggro and a little bit of control, and there's the 3 metamorphosis and the 3 scapegoats. So I thought it was a kind of an interesting deck, and you can see on the side that it seems to go into Stein OTK, which is interesting. There aren't too many decks. There were a couple, but there weren't too many decks that have a smokescreen side. So pretty cool to see. And with that, we will start the top 4 deck lists. First up is number 4, which was Splevin. We have an interesting return deck here with double Bazoo, BLS, double Blade Knight, and we can see here he also ran Cyberjar and also ran a King Tiger Wengu, I guess expecting more of a either burn matchup because King Tiger destroys the Ojama tokens when they're summoned, or perhaps was expecting more control matchups, which there were some control decks that were doing pretty good in the previous tournament. But other than that, we have a small warrior package here with Don Zalug, DD Warrior Lady, Ninja Grandmaster Sasuke, and Mystic Swordsman level 2. And we've got double Smashing Ground, double Return, and double Dust Shoot. Some interesting cards inside. Looks like was prepared for the burn matchup with Hysteric Fairy and 2 Mystic Walk, as well as Cliff the Trap Remover, which can get rid of the Floodgate cards. Pretty interesting deck. And then next up, we'll move to third place, which was Ghostrider, and this is more close to a typical warrior deck. It's running 1 jar and 2 Upstart Goblin. One thing that was very common to see in all of the decks in this tournament was people kind of just replaced Trinity with Upstart Goblins or jars or both. And here we see just a full suite of triple Dust Tornado, triple Sakuretsu armor, double Trap Dust Shoot. Trap Dust Shoot, very interesting because the opponent can't get out of it as easy, but also it won't trigger as easily because they don't have pot, etc. to get their hand size back up. And triple Kaiku. There wasn't really very many like chaos control decks or even cast turbo decks in this tournament. But kind of interesting. Also, in the side, we can see very prepared for a warrior grind with the triple Berserk Gorilla, double Kinetic Soldier, and Zombira the Dark. Also has a lot of cards for against control decks with the Shura Priest and the triple King Tiger Wengu. Pretty cool. And then second place, we had Zoidberg with what looks to be, on first glance, a pretty typical deck for warriors, except, again, they have the triple jar, they have one bazoo, and as well, you could see in there is Masked Sorcerer, and one Smashing Ground, and one Return. So the deck is kind of more of a value deck and value return deck. I actually never saw the Masked Sorcerer, so I don't know if in the replays you'll see that. But kind of interesting. Also, triple Spy for against the aggro matchup. Very interesting. Very good work by Zoidberg. But first place here, we have Ivan Rossitto's Warrior deck, and this is where you can see unfortunately there wasn't too much, but there was variety in the top 4 decks, but they were all aggro decks and mostly warrior based. After all, warriors are very consistent and warrior cards are strong. We can see the triple BK, of course, and Don Zalug, DD Warrior Lady, triple Kaiku, Mystic Swordsman level 2, and one Ninja Grandmaster Sasuke, double book to go alongside the Mystic Swordsman level 2, or to run over smaller stuff with Don Zalug, etc., as well as to stop control strategies from using Thousand Eyes Restrict, and other utility. And we've got the double Upstart Goblin in place of 2 of the Trinity pieces, triple Dust Tornado, double Dust Shoot. Again, Dust Shoot very popular because, again, it's, in a way, it's kind of like its own Trinity piece. But in the side there, we see a Amazonas Archer for getting rid of Ojama tokens. I'm sure there's also some other niche uses for that. And Kinetic Soldier, a Cliff the Trap Remover, 2 Spies, again for against the aggro matchup, 2 Wangu, 2 Mobius, 2 Mind Control, 1 Smashing Ground, 1 Magic Cylinder. Magic Cylinder is actually pretty interesting because it can just win games out of nowhere when you're playing against decks that use Solemn Judgment, because they get their life points so low, so just 1 cylinder can kill them. And the leftover copies of Milk of Moon and Sakuretsu Armor. So very interesting deck. Good job by Ivan Rossitto. They won a raw ticket, and they also won $20 in Dueling Book donation codes. With that, I will begin showing you the replays, and hopefully you guys enjoy. Let me know what you think about these decks and the No Trinity tournament idea in general, and what you thought about the replays. And thank you very much. Enjoy.